What's good? It's your boy Fanon. I'm going to talk about Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez, this middleweight, the middleweight division, and some game playing that Gennady Golovkin is doing in talking about, even insinuating for a little while, that he's not going to take a fight with Canelo Alvarez in September. Let's not fake this statement that he made, that Gennady Golovkin said the probability of a Canelo rematch is 10%, it's as phony, in my opinion. It has about as much validity as the rest of these, as many of this guy's quote unquote accomplishments as a middleweight champion. This is a guy whose team is congratulating itself for breaking the StubHub Center after the fight with Vanes Martirosyan, where you could see, watching on HBO, that there's large sections of the place that don't have anybody sitting there. And after HBO was on air saying that, basically laying out how they had picked Vanes Martirosyan in order to curry favor with the Armenian population in California, and to get them to come to the fight and to support Vanes Martirosyan, right? You know, kind of the same way he does when he says he's fighting Mexican style, right? This is a Mexican style fight with two people who were born in Eastern Europe, but it's Mexican style, you know. Anyway, so they say that they sell out a place that didn't sell out. And he says now that it's only a 10% chance that he's going to take a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Get out of here, man. And then, the last thing is, they claim that they tie in the press conference afterwards, that they tie Bernard Hopkins' record for middleweight title defenses. And when it's just a simple look at BoxRec can tell you that's not true. And any of these guys that repeat this, they just don't care. Or, hey man, they're getting paid directly from they're getting paid based on access that they get to Gennady Golovkin, right? So they get the interview, they can write the article, they can put the article on their website or their publication, and then ads are paid for that. And because they have that one-on-one communication with Gennady Golovkin or Tom Loeffler or whoever it is, they figure they'll just go with it. But none of those things are true. None of them are true. Now, I'm going to do a live stream about this. Probably right after I get done with this video. I might do the live stream before I actually publish this video. But the best way to participate in a live stream is to subscribe and hit the bell icon. When you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you should get notified of when they happen, because I don't do them at a regularly scheduled time. And really, the best thing about the channel, in my opinion, the thing that I enjoy the most is doing the live stream and getting a chance to interact with subscribers and people that watch in a real-time basis, right? And talk about the subjects that people want to talk about specifically. And the best way to do that is the live stream. So I hope that you accept my invitation to attend. Also, thank you to everybody that supports in the super chat. You guys really do help with the cause a lot. Thank you. I can't express my gratitude more. Also, Venmo and the Patreons. Thank you so much for support of the channel and the cause that we support. So Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is going to fight. I would bet money, and I'm not a gambler, but I would bet money on a fight in September between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. Because Gennady Golovkin does not have anywhere else to run. Canelo Alvarez has nowhere else to go. And the only reason that I can see that Gennady Golovkin would say that there's only a 10% chance of this fight happening is because he's trying to negotiate for a bigger cut of the pie for taking the fight. And he thinks that he might be able to leverage his righteous indignation for Canelo Alvarez failing drug tests. And by the way, let me put a little asterisk on that. I have been told, because I did not read the article myself, I've been told that a hair sample from Canelo Alvarez came back negative for Clenbuterol. So therefore, some people are saying that means that he was clean. I think Maurice Suleiman said that was proof to him that Canelo Alvarez wasn't dirty. I don't know what to say about that other than to say that he failed the test. Whether it is on accident or whether he did it purposefully, he said he failed the test for Clenbuterol on February 17th, February 21st. And as a result, he deserved to be suspended. He deserved a fine. And what he got was a slap on the wrist. And he's probably not going to lose in the long run. He's probably not going to lose anything but a little hit to his reputation because, as Oscar De La Hoya said, he's going to wind up fighting in December. He's going to wind up fighting in September and December. So he'll get his 2 fights in for the year. It's just that it got pushed back. But let's not front like Abel Sanchez and Tom Loeffler are going to derail this aging hype job to the jaws of Jermall Charlo or into the ring with Billy Joe Saunders or into the ring again with Daniel Jacobs. I have a hard time believing that because they want money and they're willing to say and do what they need to do in order to get money. Isn't that what Abel Sanchez said? Abel Sanchez said it's about putting butts in the seat. And since they have been in the very eloquent words of Andre Ward, Gennady Golovkin and Abel Sanchez have been Abel Sanchez, he is actually Mexican. Unless he's like, Bolivian and he's faking it. I wouldn't put it past him. But from all that I know, he's Mexican. And they've been appropriating Mexican culture, putting Gennady Golovkin in sombreros. I think he was in a sombrero, right? But touting Mexican style. I'm Mexican style. Boy, man, you are not Mexican style. You are Kazakhstan style. And I just never understood how people allow him to get away with that. Even more so than them letting him, on one side, letting them get away, never calling him out directly about these 20 title defenses, which are really 9. And anybody with 2 cents knows that it's 9. Now, I'm a big believer in things that people have opinions. And your opinion is your opinion. You can look at, 2 people can look at the same thing, the same objective facts, and draw a conclusion at 2 different conclusions. They really can. They can say, I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking at round 12 of the Gennady, or around 12 of Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo Alvarez, and I think Canelo won that round. Somebody else says I think that Gennady Golovkin won that round. We're watching both of the guys throw punches. We all see the same angle on the same TV screen, but I think this guy won. You think that guy won. That's an opinion. That's your interpretation. But there is no interpretation of WBA regular title. it's just the regular title. It's not the super title. It's not the same title he owns now. Gennady Golovkin owns the WBA super title. He doesn't own the WBA regular title. He didn't defend that 10 times. 10 of those defenses were for a title that he no longer holds, and one that is not. That's an objective fact. He did not tie Bernard Hopkins' record. And I listen to these debates going on about it, and I keep saying to myself, and I say to anybody, listen, I don't care if you think the Gennady Golovkin's competition was better than Bernard Hopkins' competition. I don't care. That is your opinion. You can have your opinion that you think that Danny Jacobs is a better fighter than Felix Trinidad. Okay, or Canelo Alvarez, who he didn't beat, was a better fighter than Oscar De La Hoya. That's your opinion. But you cannot, it's not your opinion that Bernard Hopkins defended the IBF belt 20 times. And that is a major championship belt. That's his record. It's because he defended a major belt, not a minor one. Similarly, you cannot look at Gennady Golovkin and think he's Mexican. He's not Mexican. It's an objective fact. He's in Kazakhstan. He's from Kazakhstan. That's where he learned how to fight. I don't even know if the dude ever even fought in Mexico. And he's not a Mexican style. There's all kind of different Mexican boxers. Canelo Alvarez is actually a Mexican boxer. That's actually a Mexican that fights like him, which is different than how Marco Antonio Barrera fought, which is different than how Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fought, which is definitely different than how Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fought, and different than how Fernando Vargas fought, which is different than Ryan Garcia fights, different than Oscar De La Hoya fought. These guys fight differently. But for people to allow that type of buffoonery and it's like somebody saying, yeah, I fight black style. Like Abel Sanchez said. Oh, people don't like that style. They don't like the black style. They like the Mexican style. What black style is that, Abel Sanchez? What is this black style that cannot sell? Oh, Floyd Mayweather can't sell. He's an African American fighter. He sells like hotcakes. He sold like hotcakes. Muhammad Ali sold like hotcakes. My man Sugar Ray Leonard sold like it was no tomorrow. So people been selling like there's no. Mike Tyson sold. Sold like hotcakes. Come on, man. But hey, just say it is. Just say it and make it so. You know what I mean? That's what this thing is to me. So when I listen to this 10% chance that this fight is going to happen, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Okay, they're just going to say, you're just going to say something else, huh? What 10%? So there's a 90% chance that you're going to fight who? Charlo? What? Because Canelo, because Gennady Golovkin says, "Oh yeah, I would fight Charlo. I'd fight anybody, any of these guys. I'm not running from anybody. You might not be running from them, but you dang sure ain't running to them. And you might not want it, but come on, man. Come on. that's just nonsense. See articles about Gennady Golovkin like, what's left for Gennady Golovkin to prove? Well, the one thing that I would say he has to prove is that he can actually defend a belt 20 times. Because he's going to have to prove to me that he's got 20 title defenses. And he's going to have to prove to me that he fights in a Mexican's. Anyway, man, that's just belaboring the point. Look, I don't like hype jobs at all. And when I say the word hype job, it's the hype that goes around the fighter. It's usually not the fighter themselves. It's on rare occasions. It's not all of these guys who are professional boxers have in order to be a professional boxer, You have to have a certain level of skill. In order to be a professional boxer or an amateur boxer, you have to have a certain amount of heart. In order to get in the ring and have somebody throw punches at you, take punches to the body, take punches to the head, you have to have a certain amount of heart. You have to have a certain amount of ability. The biggest hype job, Primo Carnera is probably the biggest hype job, probably one of the biggest hype jobs ever. But clearly the guy knew how to throw a punch. If he hit you, he hit a grown man hard enough, he could knock him out. The dude had some skill. When I'm talking about Gennady Golovkin being a hype job, the hype job around this nonsense, I'm not talking about him not being able to fight. Because clearly Gennady Golovkin can fight. And I find it funny that and this is something that Black Fight Fan TV talks about, and he reminds me of it. Because when these guys start coming up and you really start and they come up from the ground up, right? So like during the time when Gennady Golovkin was fighting, with the WBA regular title, and, the ones that shouldn't count, but for some reason they're counting them. And Felix Sturm was fighting in Germany, and Felix Sturm had the WBA regular super title, and Felix Sturm didn't fight him. There were people who are real boxing fans talking about Gennady Golovkin like, look, man, this guy can fight. Sturm doesn't want to fight him, or this guy doesn't want to fight him, that guy doesn't want to fight him. And what Black Fight Fan TV reminded me of, and it said to me, I'll take him at his word, that's how he got the name Triple G. Is because hardcore boxing fans, a lot of black boxing fans, supported Gennady Golovkin. Because Gennady Golovkin did spend a large part of his career not being able to get fights. So, once he got to a certain status, and that's when they put that hype around him. And all of a sudden you start hearing things that are just not true. Things that, even though he's a good fighter in the ring, he's getting accolades and things that he doesn't deserve. When I say that there's a hype job going on around Vasily Lomachenko, I'm not saying that Vasily Lomachenko can't fight. I'm not blind. The dude can fight. He's a highly skilled boxer. But when somebody starts saying, hey, this dude's a mega superstar, and then I look and I say, hold on, man, he's fighting in 6,000 seat arena. He's 6,000. He gets 800,000 people to watch him. He's not a superstar. When you start saying he's better than any fighter that's ever walked the face of the earth, or the best fighter ever since Muhammad Ali, I'm like, he's 9-1. When people say that he's a fighter of the year for beating two guys that weren't even in his weight class, one guy was 2 weight classes smaller than him, and another guy was another weight class smaller than him, and the guy that was a weight class smaller than him was coming off of a loss. I say, look, and then I'm looking at Terrence Crawford. I say, no, in my opinion, Terrence Crawford did more this year than he did. Terrence Crawford deserves fighter of the year. In my opinion, they treated that fighter of the year and that whole number one pound for pound thing as hype, as a mechanism by which to hype and elevate him. So you have guys you still have Gennady Golovkin, number one. I think Gennady Golovkin's number one pound for pound fighter in the world on ESPN. The same people that say that he just broke Bernard Hopkins' record. ESPN has him as their number one pound for pound fighter. The guy's never fought anybody bigger than him. Ever. Ever. How are you the number one pound for pound guy if you're 36, 37 years old and you spent your entire career in one weight class, you've never moved up and never challenged anybody? But you're the number one. I don't see it that way. I guess somebody's opinion could be that way, but that's just hype around it. And now we hear this statement about maybe he'll fight somebody other than Canelo Alvarez. I don't buy it. I don't buy it because that's where the money is. That's where the money is. That's where the hype is. There's all kind of stuff built up about the fight, the revenge factor, all that stuff. He's not just going to go and fight Jermall Charlo and lose. Because Jermall Charlo, if Jermall Charlo's hitting him with the same stuff that Vanis Martirosyan's hitting him with, just like Gennady, just like Roy Jones Jr. said, when he gets hit with that type of stuff, he's not going to be running up in there like he ran up in there with Vanis Martirosyan, right? Just guns a-blazing. Because he's got to worry about what's coming back at him. That's not going to happen. Canelo Alvarez is more than likely going to happen. And that's because and he'll lose it on his, and if he wins, it'll be his 21st title defense. Anyway, it is what it is, man. I don't believe that nonsense, and I don't think anybody else does really either. I just really wish that fighters could be judged off what they actually do. And because when you overhype somebody and an accomplishment they do, you take away from somebody else. And with that, I'm out, Pete.